Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
I love you, baby. Why?
First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
I
In the
love
morning.
you.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Check this thing on.
Unbelievable. All systems go. What's happening, y'all? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, thanks for joining us on a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul Beeee. I got Buddi3 Da Gawd over here with me.
Hey.
Yeah, and all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, May 8th. Wait a minute.
Day.
Are we in May? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wednesday, May 8th,
Yeah, you got it
2024.
right. You got it right.
Got it right. Hump day, like Buddy said. Yep. Appreciate you joining us today. And yeah, how's your hump day going on? I see people are up this morning. Shout out to the chat chimers getting up early, giving us the good mornings. Shout out to the radio crew too, the 630 Club 630, getting up early, listening to the radio channel. Appreciate it very much. Mama God in the chat first, saying good morning, First Sky fam.
Okay.
Mama God, what's happening?
My dukes.
Yep. Pops in now. Pops in the chat too says, all right, First Sky. It's Wednesday. Sending mad love from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Pops,
Hey,
Pops'
Pops.
favorite day is Wednesday.
Yeah, missed you on Monday. So yeah.
Yep, we got no women for you today on
Just
so
us mans.
don't know if you gonna this is gonna be still your favorite day today, but that's what's up. Judy Princess says with y'all, appreciate it. Thanks for joining
Hey.
us. Mark Manor gives us a good morning from the bike lane. Man,
Okay.
that's what's
Okay.
up, bro.
How's it out there this morning? How's the weather treating you?
Hey man, I took a cue from Mark Manor yesterday. Got up early, went for a walk right before sunrise, and
Yeah.
all I can think about is, man, I should have brought my camera with me because I would have to. I got to prove it to y'all. I did. I really
Nah.
did. I did.
We don't
Yeah.
believe you. Nah.
But yeah, Mark Manor be up early, man, biking around, walking around. Has inspired me to get up, get a little sunrise in your face.
Yeah.
Supposed to do good for you in the day if you can get up with the sunrise. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's refreshing, man. That's when I used to take my morning jogs.
Hmm It reminds me of us being out in Northern Cali, and we out there we're out there for the festival there for the Blue Note Festival. Buddy up walking the streets.
Yeah. 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 It was kind of exploring Concord.
Yes, Concord.
Yeah.
Brother Pini Valdez gives us a good morning. Appreciate you coming in.
Hey.
Yeah, how do you guys do? You guys get your walking? You're walking. I know Mark Manor does. Who else gets up and walks?
Yeah. I know Kimra does from time to time.
Pop said no women. Okay, see you Friday. Cold blooded. I'm out. All right, yeah. Mama Guy says, "Do we have coffee winner? We do have coffee winners. Yes, we do.
Yes.
I failed to put on the tab to put your name there. So we have some email addresses that won. So
Thank you.
you will receive an email if you won your coffee contest. I appreciate everybody that joined in. I don't know if you guys are all here, but thanks for everybody that joined in on the
Yeah.
contest. Shout out to Drunk Ship Coffee for sponsoring us and sponsoring the giveaway as well. So yeah,
Yeah, man.
you'll be receiving some emails today on a couple of winners. We're picking 2 winners this week, and we'll be doing it again around the 7th when we have our event out here in Benson. I don't know if you guys have seen that, heard about that yet, but save the date is going down. We're gonna be out here for Benson First Fridays with a booth.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a good time. Save the date, June 7th. We're gonna probably be out there on Military Street with the other booths, hanging out, having a good time, talking to folks, slinging some shirts, and talking about the next wave. What's coming up next? It'll be a celebration of the end of 7 seasons for us. Man, 7 seasons.
Yeah. This is crazy to say, right?
It is, yeah. For those of you who don't know, we do 2 seasons a year. We do a spring season and then a fall season, basically. So yeah, so that's coming up. Mama God says thank you, drunk ship coffee. Yeah, thank you very much. Go to drunkshipcoffee.com for sure. We'll probably have something out there with them too on June 7th. So get ready to come out. And yeah, got a couple things happening this summer. We'll be talking about more of it later.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, we're definitely trying to get active, especially when Buddy gonna be in town.
I was
So
gonna say that's a big part of what's going down this summer, man. I'll be in town, boots to the roots, on the
yeah,
soil. So yeah, let's get active, y'all. Let's live
yeah,
alive together.
live alive with one another. I love it. Kimber Snipes in the Chief credit to Matt Ray said a teacher is able to quit her part-time job after 20 years. Let me go up and see if I'm missing something. Yep. Kimber says
Yeah,
the
give me
school
some.
school board voted on a raise for veteran teachers Monday night. The OEA president said this is the first time they've been able to work with administration in years. Really?
Man,
We've been talking about administration being a serious part of this situation here, maybe even more than the board.
and
Uh,
maybe this is a sign of what's to come under Matt Ray, as
yep,
she says. Matt Ray is getting the credit. So, yeah, that's a good sign so far. And actually, we'll be talking about some of the changes from OPS a little later on. So,
yep,
yeah,
yep.
yeah,
She said Matt let a teacher sit in on the committees about curriculum and a host of other things. So
there you
bringing
go.
in the teachers, man, that's how you got to do it. Ask the teachers.
I
They're the
mean,
ones. They got the boots to the roots.
they the ones with the babies, and from what we've been hearing, they haven't been very empowered or given the ability to be vocal. So this is beautiful that they're coming together, and hopefully we'll see more of this. This is just the beginning.
Yep, yep. We're gonna go ahead and get it rolling. I'm stuck, so I'm gonna go reset
Yeah,
my
I
camera.
was gonna say, is it just me or?
No, man, I don't know what's going on. See, as soon as you say something good about the tech, meantime, between time, join us again for a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddy the God. Here we go.
Yeah, let's start the show.
All right, all right, all right. I think we're right. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yeah, yeah. I see you bobbing and weaving.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, boy.
Yeah, man.
Tech be teching. Boy, I miss Star Trek Rich in them days over there. Weatherized.
Man. Shout out to Weatherized. We just come in and do the thing,
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's nothing like having an experienced engineer around.
man.
Yeah. But we doing the best we can. We doing the best we can. And shout out to them because whenever we have a special guest, like we had Dr. Cornell West on this year. Yeah, man. Yep. 2024. Cornell West for president. Yeah, we were able to go right on back over there to Weatherized and get busy. So shout out to Star Trek Rich and Margie and the whole Weatherized crew. Again, if you got podcast ideas, there's still the best people to go to about them. Everybody in town that's doing some important podcasting seems to be going to Weatherized right now.
Man. Yeah.
Shout out to Shauna Dorsey. Shout out to Whitney Richardson. Shout out to all the folks over there making it happen.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, Jason Fisher as well. Man, he's doing some things over
Oh
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Been over there a little bit.
The heads.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Weatherized, man.
Big time. Kimber says it was a great meeting to be at. I was touched. I'm so glad you were there and able to see some progress.
Yeah.
Speaking on the Omaha Public School meeting where they decided on giving some teachers some loot.
Give it a
Finally,
loop. Give it a loop. Yeah, man. I'll never forget one time I was in Walmart doing some shopping and I came across a teacher. And by the looks of her card, I just knew she was a teacher because she had a bunch of like supplies and stuff. And I'm like, using your own money, huh? She just looked at me like you could just tell the look in her face. She's like,
see, that's why I couldn't be a teacher. I'd be as soon as I bought some kids some pens and stuff, and they were sitting over there breaking them and throwing them up in the ceiling and all that kind of ridiculousness. I'd be,
man.
hey, my money you throwing away. I'd be upset. Be on
Take
lunch
it
break.
personal.
That's right. Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning. Appreciate that very much. Brother Pena says good morning with some sunshine.
Yeah.
Supposed to be nice out today in the 70s. So that's
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Everybody's saying good morning to each other too. I like that. I like
yep,
that.
yep. Stephen Abraham in the chat says teachers are one of the most undervalued profession. I'm glad OPS is making wage moves. Man,
Yeah. Yeah. If
how
you
we
remember, what last year they had the mass exodus of teachers. You know, teachers were quitting left and right. They had hundreds of teachers just considering retiring. You know, moving from school to school. It wasn't looking good for a second.
man, yeah, it's bad news. And they were losing, especially the special teachers, teachers that had that were dealing with kids with disabilities and all kind. They had all kinds of people that all of a sudden you had a shortage, and we're just like, why don't you just pay the teachers more? It can't be a money thing. We spoke to the senators that said they are trying to give you guys money and you guys are turning money down. So you must have the money. So like,
Man,
what's the problem?
right, right.
Problem has been administration. So it sounds like with the new superintendent, maybe there's going to be some changes. We might need to go ahead and dive into that first. But before we do that,
Mhm.
let's jump in and just talk a little bit about what we will be talking about today. Thanks to you putting stuff in Friends of First Sky Omaha. What's the latest? What were the talking points today?
Yeah, I didn't want to skip over Mama God's comment. She's kind of giving us an update on some things, saying Hassani Lee hearing is today and Levi Blake's vigil today. So big shout out to all the chat chimers who've been on top of that situation since we've had that lengthy, heartfelt episode a couple weeks ago now, I think. Again, with the brother Hassani Lee in our first 3 hour episode, and of course, some chat chimers and friends of First Guy went down to the courthouse to support, kind of heeded the call to action. And yeah, apparently there's been some more updates, some more things going forward. And then also, I don't know if any of you saw it, but Joni Poor kind of chimed up, and I believe that was Channel 6 going ahead and gave him a tour of Underwood Towers. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that for sure, for sure. Yeah, man. Definitely have to dive into that situation again. Continuing looking at the housing situation and trying to speak some truth to power, man. Also looking at what's going on with the summer EBT situation. This is something we've been kind of looking at. There's been a little back and forth. It looks like Governor Pillen wasn't supporting it. Senators had to fight for it, but now it's about ready to roll out. And again, we're going to dive into the details, especially those of you who help watch the babies and have babies of your own. This might be something that can help you out. So yeah, always looking forward to helping the people out. Also, um, speaking of helping the people out, again, we've been talking about it. OPS making some changes, boosting pay for some educators at the cost of $34.8 million. To Paul's point, was money really the issue, or was it something else? So
Mm.
we'll dive into where that money is going and what changes are being made with OPS. And yeah, yeah, big shout out to Matt Ray making some moves as the new superintendent. Also, of course, we're still looking at the situation. Mr. Levi Blake recently discovered his body, and now the family is preparing to say goodbye. And again, as Mama God is reminding us, there is a vigil today. So if you like to go and support the family, we'll try to give you those details. Dive into that. Also, if there's anything happening in your hearts and minds that we're not talking about, yep, there you go. The information for the vigil. Look at that, looking fresh with that beard.
Looking clean. Looking
Yeah, man,
clean.
looking clean, man. Rest in peace to Mr. Levi Blake. And yeah, if there's anything else happening on your hearts and minds, of course, I'm sure there's some things going on. So yeah, feel free to drop that into the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo, yo.
What's the word?
Man, just appreciate you joining in there and trying to get my tech right here. Had a little quote from James Baldwin about love takes off the mask that we fear we cannot live without and know we cannot live within.
Mm,
This is season 7, the Love Supreme, and we want to
yeah,
acknowledge that everything that we do is because of love. And I'm thinking about everything that's just happened with Brother Hassani Lee and his family, and the people that showed up down at the court, and the people that are going to show up down at the court today. This is not over, so we know that we care about our community, we care about people, and it all comes from the love. And if we don't have it, then we're lost. So shout out
man,
to everybody who's part of this.
man.
So yeah,
Love is a saving power, man. That's it.
most
That's it.
def,
That's the
most
only thing
def.
that's gonna get us out of this. But yeah, yeah. Speaking of that,
So,
Cameron in the
mhm.
chat saying a few people showed Brother Hassani Lee some love at the hearing yesterday. So again,
Nice.
shout out to all those stepping up. She says, I went to the hearing yesterday with Paul. That's the other Paul, not that Paul.
They
The other
call him
Paul.
White Paul. They call him White
Yeah,
Paul.
yeah. There you go. There you go. Sherman, MII, Johnny No Good were all there, and Pastor Ballard. So yeah, yeah. Shout out to the crew stepping up.
Boost to the roots. That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking.
man.
Kimber in the chat says, side note, I've been endorsed for school board by the OEA and the NSEA, Nebraska State Education Association. My opponent was not.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congrats on that.
I can't wait to see you up in there
Yeah.
shaking it up.
Yeah. Recently so. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it.
Well, before we do that, I
Okay.
just want to acknowledge people in the chat real quick.
Okay.
Still, Amy H. Dot is saying good morning, so appreciate you coming
Oh,
on in
hey.
this morning. Also, I see Brother Marlon Harrison asking, did anyone lose power on Monday during the storm? I'm sure that people did. They hadn't restored the power from the tornado last week for about a few hundred people. So yeah, let us know if anybody lost power and if there's anything we can do about that for sure. Appreciate it. Heather Williams gives us a good morning. And also Jay Carty in the chat saying good morning to the brothers of broadcast excellence. Thanks, man.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, brother. Thank you. Top of the morning to you.
Yeah, top of the morning. Yeah, just wanted to get that in there, and also didn't get a chance to ask you, buddy, how you doing today? How's your week going so far?
Man, I'm all right. The week has been all right. You know, it is, some ups, some downs, but it is what it is. I'm glad to be here. Glad to wake up this morning.
Yeah,
And I'm actually feeling good this morning, feeling good today. Monday was
good.
kind of a little heavy for me, but, definitely in light of, things happening with the family and, just some things going on. But yeah, we here, and I'm feeling all right, feeling good.
So,
How
man,
about you, man?
I'm feeling pretty good, especially starting with some good news, man. We've been talking about this whole time. Teachers need to get paid.
Man,
You know
big
what I'm
time.
saying? Point blank, period. They need to get paid. I don't understand why they're not. The money is there. It's the will. It's really been the will. So, positive, man. We didn't know what to expect from the new superintendent and stuff like that. We
Yeah.
did. We weren't able to have Brianna Fool was going to come on and give us a little report on some of those things and reasons why she was feeling like she was feeling. We didn't get a chance to talk to her. She's been mad busy lately.
Mm-hmm.
But so it'll be interesting now. I'll definitely reach back out to her and see if we can talk to her about these new changes. But let's go ahead and talk about the changes, man.
Yeah. And again, I do think that the fact that the new superintendent, Mr. Matt Ray, was a former teacher, I think that might play a role into what's going on. So again, he might understand the position that some of these teachers find themselves in. So again, big news coming out of Omaha Road Herald. The Omaha Public Schools District is making substantial changes to its employee contract to address its staffing shortage. Again, about a year or so ago, there was a mass exodus of teachers coming out of OPS, which has left some educators with burdensome workloads due to vacant positions. However, during Monday's meeting, the school board approved amendments to the collective bargaining agreement with the teachers union and paraprofessionals union for the rest of this year and the upcoming 24-25 and 25-26 years. The changes will impact special education teachers, which again has been kind of in shambles as of recently, instructional facilitators, paraprofessionals, and teachers with advanced degrees. It will cost, again, a whopping $34.8 million for the length of the two contracts, again, all the way until the 26th school year. And let's see, Katie Poling, who's the president of the OEA, the Omaha Education Association, who again just endorsed our sister Kimera, says, I have had several teachers reach out to me this past weekend regarding the change. Many have called to thank the OEA, and others have called in joyful tears to say after working for OPS for 20 years, they can now quit their second job. Man, the Omaha Education Association proposed the amendment to retain teachers with more than a decade of experience and master's degree to keep them in OPS at the prime of their careers, quote unquote. Again, union members also wanted special education teachers to be compensated for their increasing student caseloads. Again, after several special education programs closed in North Omaha schools and made higher because of, again, vacant positions, and also the move to give instructional facilitators more time with adequate pay is a new change too. So again, just to give you a kind of a ballpark or an idea of how much of a boost these teachers are getting. Again, according to this article, for example, a teacher with a master's degree and 5 years of experience has been paid about $59,000 annually. But now with the new agreement, that will boost up to about 63,000 annually, and those with 10 years will now be making about 70,000. So again, inflation is still inflation. The cost of living is still going up. That is what it is. But again, big move for OPS, as you see a lot of teachers responding. A lot of teachers are happy, and now that they can quit their second job, which is crazy to think of, man. Like, again, all the things that goes into teaching. I just told you about the teacher that had to go to Walmart to buy supplies, like, and plus you're already at the school 8 hours a day, from six o'clock in the morning to 3, 4, sometimes 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Then you got to grade papers, and it's a lot that comes with teaching. So again, to have a second job on top of that, it can be stressful. So again, big moves. Paul, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm definitely feeling good that we got some good news to report. This does definitely feel like good news for sure. I'm anxious. I mean, not anxious. I'm happy that we got some good positive feedback from this new superintendent. We had all kinds of questions about before, but like Kimmer says, there's value in climbing your way up. Too many instantaneous as opposed to cultivated over time leadership.
Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't feel like it's an instantaneous leadership situation. Definitely feels like he's coming with some experience and coming with his own personal experience. Lived experience is now when you go apply for a job, they really are not supposed to ask you about whether or not you have a college degree. Depends on the
Hmm.
job, of course. If the job requires certification or college degree, then it's necessary. But for the most part, lived experience is now equal to college college credits a lot of times. So employers are finding lived experience is definitely even more important sometimes. So
Hmm.
for him to be coming like come from the bottom now he's here. You know what I'm saying? Like
Man.
coming from teacher to
Started from the
superintendent.
bottom, now we're here.
Yeah, man. Like I feel like that's going to be a positive thing, and it seems to be positive so far. So we'll definitely see. Kobe, Black Dynamite in the chat. Good morning. He has a question. And I don't know the answer to this, bro. He says, other than dealing with a literal world shutdown with COVID, do you think Dr. Logan dropped the ball on raises for the teachers?
Um,
I can't really say yes or no to that. I know that she has some struggles,
mhm.
big time struggles with the board and the administration. And I wasn't there, so I don't really know whether or not she was pushing for raises and wouldn't getting them, or was along the same lines as the administration that was kind of refusing money. I'm not
Mhm.
really sure about that.
Kimmer says I do.
Okay,
Okay. Just to clarify, is that in response? Okay, in
Dr.
response to
Logan.
Dr. Logan. Okay, she says I do. Um, I will say this. Of course, as you acknowledge, dealing with the pandemic definitely could not have been easy. And in light of how some other school districts around the nation handled the pandemic, I think Dr. Logan did fairly well in that. And that's no small feat. Like, I have to give her kudos in that. But at the same time, when we say we were aware of some of the suppression that teachers felt, and hearing about teachers feeling intimidated was some of the words I was hearing.
Mhm.
There was some real fear of teachers speaking out during COVID, and being able to kind of speak their piece. That was under Logan. So I don't know if she's to blame for that, or what the circumstance was, but a lot of those activities were under Logan. And, to contrast, now we have here with Mr. Matt Ray, and teachers are crying tears of joy, so
True. Yeah.
yeah. And also, I did want to acknowledge the comments from the article about Matt Ray. Again, polling, who's with the OEA, the Omaha Education Association, says polling and said the change is the product of OPS and the teachers union working together after many years of not cooperating. So again, that could be a comment to Dr. Cheryl Logan's leadership, as far as again, people saying teachers and administration had not been cooperating. She says the shift comes as interim superintendent Matt Ray prepares to take over as superintendent in July. So he hasn't even fully stepped into the position, and then we're already seeing major changes. She goes on to say, with Matt Ray at the helm, the OEA has been able to partner with the district on major changes that are happening. 9 years ago, when I joined the OEA, we were divided. I am proud to say we're all working together to make OPS the best district to work for. So again, some big changes. Now again, as she says, 9 years ago. So I don't know if the separation, was caused by Dr. Logan, or she just kind of stepped into the situation and because of the pandemic. I don't really know as far as the Dr. Logan situation. But it does
Yeah.
seem like people are excited about Matt Ray.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Like we have learned over time that it's not just the superintendent; it's the administrator, it's the rest of the administration. She may have not had the same relationship with the administration that this new superintendent has. He's been in OPS, teaching in OPS for a long time. Miss Cheryl Logan was from somewhere else and came in,
Mm-hmm.
so it could be that part. She could have been fighting for it, but just wasn't getting no back because of the fact that she didn't have the relationships. So we're speculating, in other words, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to do too much of that for a black woman in leadership. She did what she did, and now she's somewhere else and living her best life. And I'm not really sure what the deal was, but we have learned that it has a constant combination of the board, the administration, and there's
Mm-hmm.
there's more to it than just one person making a decision on whether or not somebody ought to get a raise. So and we'll have yet to see, what that relationship bears out as well. He might have gotten them raises at the compromising some other aspect of something that
Mm.
needs to happen. We just don't know quite yet, but we can take this win as a win if some teachers are going to get paid and
Yeah,
leave it at that. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Kind of on the last part of that, I will take a kind of a nod and give a little more weight to what Sister Kimra and Brother Marlon are saying, because they work in OPS, and they're closely, kind of more closely related than us. And actually, in the case of Sister Kimra, she worked directly with Dr. Logan. Again, she was on the school board while Dr. Logan was there during the pandemic. And Kimra says, I figured Dr. Logan out completely once we had the vote about Yates Illuminates. And if you remember, Yates closed for some time, and then there was a community effort to reopen it. And I believe they just had their ribbon cutting and relaunch just recently. So definitely congratulations to everybody involved with that effort. But
Mhm.
again, Kimura goes on to say, I still have a lot of respect for her, but we just weren't on the same page. And I think that could go along with what you, Paul and Marlon are saying, as far as her being from out of town, and the fact that again, Ray is homegrown. As I mentioned, he's been a teacher. As Cameron said, he's kind of slowly worked his way up the chain. So, relationships might go a long way in this.
Yeah, most def. We still have other problems to attack as well. This is one win that we can take and just be happy that we got a little bit of a uptick here in what OPS might need. But Tony Johnson is bringing another point. He says high suspensions of minority students should be another hot topic. Absolutely,
Hmm.
we'll have to see what this new superintendent has to say and do about those things. And like I said, the fight's not done. This is one part of it. Teachers making more money is one part. So
Yeah, there's
we'll
still a
definitely
lot of still a lot of issues with OPS that need to be addressed, man. So,
big
yes,
time.
yes, yes, big time, big time.
Hey, I want to jump in the chat real quick. Miss Gwen Easter's in the chat. Good morning. She's speaking to Mama God, saying I didn't know they had a second hearing. I wanted to attend to support him again. Hassani Lee is going to be back in court today. I didn't really know this until Mama God brought it up a little earlier.
Well,
And then, go ahead.
just a little clarification. I guess she misspoke. The hearing was yesterday. It was the hearing that Cameron was talking
Oh,
about.
okay,
That
okay.
was yesterday. So yes, yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay, so we didn't miss it. So yeah, appreciate everybody that came out to that one yesterday as well. We have to catch up with Brother Hassani Lee, maybe Friday, and see, hear from him what's going on, and all, we definitely want to keep up on this story because it's a big one, and today is kind of like the day we're going to talk a little bit about housing,
Man.
what OPA, what Omaha Housing Authority is saying. Somebody in the chat said that the CEO came on and it was a joke. Yeah, we're definitely gonna be talking about that coming up. But yeah, I'm sorry I broke in there because I wanted to make sure that we were on schedule for being able to help Brother Hassani out today. But that was yesterday, so good.
Yeah.
I'm glad there was boost to the roots there yesterday on that.
Yeah, and it was still, again, a few friends of First Sky. As Paul says, White Paul was out there, and Big Sherm, aka Warrior Wells, was out there, and Johnny No Good. So yeah, there's definitely some heads already out there mobilizing. So big thanks, and apparently this is not over. It's still not over. From what I'm hearing, firsthand account from those that was there, apparently it's going to a jury trial,
Mhm.
which again, what Kimra is saying, what I witnessed yesterday was unprecedented. Yeah, word is Aaron Feistinger also was yep camera right there in the chat. She says Aaron Feistinger from the Women's Fund says she has never seen a tenant get a jury trial. She's been attending eviction hearings for years.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean it's a whole difference when you know your rights.
Shout out to brother Hassani Lee.
Man, shout out to the brother, man. Shout out to the brother. Again, it's a whole difference when you know your rights. It's a whole difference when you're building a paper trail. It's a whole difference when, as the young folks say nowadays, you're standing on business.
Standing on business, bro.
It hit different when you do your homework.
Man. Yeah, appreciate that very much. We will be keeping track of that. Like I said, I'll ask brother Hassani Lee if he can come on Friday so we can catch up with him personally.
Man, and Kimber says she said this could go to the Supreme Court all the way to the tippy top.
Yep.
Man. I mean, it needs to though. The gravity of what we've been talking about. You know, I'm kind of making light a little bit, but this is a real situation, and it needs to go to the Supreme Court. You know, if this is where it goes, then hey, reasonably so, because this needs to be addressed. And I again, as Brother Hassani Lee himself has mentioned, and as we have kind of concluded ourselves, this goes up far. Like again, the city has shown that they're not really willing to do much. We've seen, you know, even federal HUD, at least the district region or the district, you know, they're aware of what's going on, and at least on a minimal level, they at least know the tenants are reaching out for help. So it's gone away all the way to the federal level, and still not much has changed. So yeah, maybe.
That's got me actually wondering about that because that's what brother Lee has been saying is like they're getting the OHA is getting the pass from some from high up somewhere, and he's saying that because he's spoken to the health department. Health department has come out, saw the conditions, made a recommendation of what OHA is supposed to be doing, and OHA just ain't doing it. So, and the same thing with HUD, and the same thing with these other organizations. So that makes me go. So, do they have any authority to enforce their suggestions, their reports? Because I'm not sure if they do. So if they don't, then who does? So, you know, we're talking about Don Bacon. If somebody's talked to Don Bacon, he's supposed to be looking into it. You know, we were talking to City Council. I think Pete Festerson is part of looking into this as well, or stated that. You know, it's got me wondering who's got the power to enforce these regulations that we've now gone past OHA to go get. What if the health department says they need who shuts your restaurant down when the health department comes and says, yeah, you got roaches and rats in here, you got to shut this down? Who shuts it down?
The city, right? The city code.
So how come the city is not doing it? And what, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the process here? Because you've already gone past OHA, and even though, like you said, even on the federal level, what's the process?
Well, according to Mean Gene, she can't do anything until tenants again complain directly to code officials and code to the city. She can't do anything until the tenants themselves complain directly to the city, and which is interesting because code enforcement, to their own admission, knows that there are code violations in OHA towers. They know that there's problems. They know that there's mold. They've seen themselves issues, but again, because tenants haven't jumped through the hoops, which they probably don't even know the hoops exist, they probably don't even know the real process. Again, as we know from the Hassani Lee trial or the last hearing, they're not even serving the tenants right. So again, are they really letting the tenants know the real process to complain against them? And I mean, when you really think about it, why would they?
well, here's the thing: they are now. So thanks to Hassani Lee, they are now, and it's real interesting how Joni Porter's gotten on the news now talking about it's real interesting. It's real concerning that they wouldn't come to us and first before going to the media. Yeah, I bet you it is real concerning because the whole point is the tenants need to complain to the mayor. And so now that they're doing that, now I'm sure you're very concerned if that's the process. So maybe we should go ahead and jump into this article.
Yeah,
this conversation since we're here.
I don't even know. Do you have the video? Is that I almost want to show that video, man, because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So again, if you're not familiar or not aware, shout out to Precious, who you know kind of brought this to my attention. She tagged Sherman like, "Hey, did you see this?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. Amy H. Dot already calling it. She says Channel 6 gave her a great edit. Man, a great edit. Great edit. So again, Channel 6 apparently got invited by OHA and Joni Poor into the Underwood Towers for a tour. And again, it's very I would love to show the video because it's very interesting. In the video, they're like walking around the building, like, yeah, we don't see anything. Like these units are crystal clean. This is what it looks like when tenants move in. Of course, after living there for
Give
some
it a go.
time,
Let's give it a go.
man, man. Because again, this report is just crazy. Like, yeah. Before I give my commentary,
Yeah,
it's top right corner. It says skip.
if we can get to it.
We hear from the top executive
go.
from the Omaha Housing Authority after tenants and advocates
this. Check
complained
this
about
out.
conditions at Underwood Tower.
The Housing Authority CEO tells our John Chapman the agency takes all complaints seriously, but at the end of the day, OHA is a landlord, and some services needed by tenants can't be met by the agency.
These are images from apartment units in Omaha Housing Authority's Underwood Tower. Tenants we heard from have some type of physical disability and need help keeping their units clean. There are advocates that have been complaining about these conditions to city, state, and federal officials.
When I have advocates calling the media before contacting us with a tenant concern, that doesn't seem like a concern for the tenants.
Omaha Housing Authority CEO Joni Poor gave us a tour of Underwood Tower. This is how the units look when tenants move in. They've been cleaned and look like most other apartments for rent in the city.
Pause this.
The halls also looked clean and tidy.
Wasn't that the common area?
That's what I was just gonna say. Mind you, that's not even a unit that they showing. That's obviously on the ground floor. That's
And hold up, wait a minute. They already started this news article. This is the reason why we do what we do. This mainstream news media just said tenants are having a hard time keeping their units clean. They've already put the blame on the tenants.
There you go.
Now,
Got-
now that, and then the second part of the story is that they're already moving into this part of the story where they're saying this is what it looks like when they move in. It's nice and clean when they move in. Narrative. Let me watch the rest of it real quick because now I got to see.
There are not bed bug soaked mattresses in
right.
hallways, as claims have said.
Downstairs, the community space also looked clean, with computers for tenants to use, even a pool table to help tenants pass the time. For a place that was built when Richard Nixon was president, the tower is not in bad shape. But there are people here who need help keeping their units clean.
Okay, see, I've had enough. And
already, man.
yeah, man, bro. That's not what's up. Who's that reporter talking that mess?
But here's how this is how you know they playing themselves. Like, okay, if the tenants need help keeping their units clean, why are you evicting the people that's helping them? If the tenants need help and to your own admission are vulnerable, why are you trying to evict the people that's helping them?
Now,
Make it make sense.
Here's where we come in because, like I said, this is the reason why we do what we do here with this. Why we decided that we had to be a part of news. A couple of artists, a couple of musicians had to go speaking up because we're tired of them putting this kind of narrative out there. This is not a bunch of tenants that need help cleaning their apartment. The apartments are not in the condition they are because the tenants have let them be in those conditions. The building. They spend $2,700 a year for every OHA building and property for pest control. That's not enough for one building, let alone all the towers, let alone all the other properties outside the towers. It doesn't make any sense for them to be trying to make this the narrative. And this is the whole problem. The whole problem is that they've come in here and now we have to watch a news article that's enforcing what it is that Joni Poor is saying. That these poor, broken down, disabled people are having such a hard time cleaning their apartments clean that they're bringing in bed bugs and roaches and the mold, I guess, is coming from the tenants as well, right? It's ridiculous, and I don't even want to spend any more time talking about that narrative because I'm going to shut that narrative down right now. You don't come on this in this situation and shame on that journalist.
That's not journalism. That's not
Is that
journalism.
Chapman? Is that who's that? Who's the journalist on this?
I think that was Chapman. But again, that's
He
why
he
didn't
just
they talk to Sonny Lee?
we just stopped on a part of this thing where he said for a building that was built in the Nixon era, they're not in bad shape. Are you crazy? Did you go to them? Did you look yourself? They're
Not
showing
just what they showed you.
she cleaned up the common areas and they brought cameras in to shoot that. Uh-huh. 606. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's hey,
Hey, let me ask
it's on
this.
your side, right?
I
That's
was just about to say, whose side is 6 on?
Clean.
I think in your
Whose
story
side is
yesterday,
6
you
on?
had a story where there was one person who needed some additional help in their unit, and we completely agree. We know that we serve a vulnerable population.
Underwood Tower is for older people. Some have physical disabilities or mental health issues. Poor says they try to connect residents with the help they need to continue to live independently.
We are a landlord at the end of the day. We deliver affordable housing, and we don't have enough resources to meet the needs of tenants.
$83
We
million.
have a limited, small resident family services program, but if somebody needs home health care, if somebody needs truly assisted living levels of care, those sorts of services in the community, that's not something that we provide. That's not a service that we are trained to provide or that we are funded to provide.
Nobody's asking you to do that. They're just asking you to take care of the building. They're just asking you to get rid of the mold.
And again, why are you evicting the people who are doing that?
And why are we painting this? We all have people and family members and stuff like that in the towers, bro. It's not all old elderly people. It's not all disabled people. It's not all people that aren't working. There's people that are working. They still have to come home and deal with that. Hassani Lee is not an elderly disabled individual. He's in there throwing away mattresses and stuff, and sleeping on air mattresses so that they can not have to sleep with a bunch of bed bugs. The way that she's spinning, we can all see her spinning the narrative. We can all see it. I'm mad at Channel 6 and
Big
Brother
time.
Chapman. Brother Chapman is an elder in our community, and he is a person that I would never speak before and give the respect to as a journalist. One of the only black journalists in Omaha, but sometimes he gets caught up with the channel in the way that they want to spin a narrative, and this is ridiculous. They did he pull? I didn't see the rest of this. Did he talk to Sherman or anybody else? Did
No.
he talk to Brother Hassani Lee in this thing? All he did was went there, let Joni Poor have some time to clean up the common areas in the common bathroom, and come in there with the camera and shoot that. And look at what's happening. We talk about fair and balanced journalism.
It's not it.
Does this have an agenda?
Come on, man. Again, whose side is 6 on? You tell me. 6 on whose side? Y'all tell me. Furthermore, again, just to juxtapose, like again, we try to do what we can. We're just trying to have real conversations. We've opened up the invitation to Joni Poor. Again, we haven't necessarily reached out, but we know they're watching. They know we're having this conversation.
We reach out, bro. I'm not entertaining this narrative.
Man,
We're here to talk about the actual problems.
right.
That's why we have people like Sherman Wells on to come and talk about what he saw there, and Brother Hassani Lee to come on and talk about what he's experienced there. That's the people that we need to talk to, not the spin doctors that want to keep their jobs.
I'm just again talking about the report from Channel 6 and how one-sided it was, and trying to point out the fact that it was super one-sided.
I'm so glad we're talking about this.
And the way that we've approached this story. Again, yes, we've had Sherman on. Yes, we've had Hassani Lee on. But we also know that people from we've seen it. We have the receipts. We have the proof. We know that people from they probably watching right now.
Monitoring spirits.
So why don't y'all come on and have the conversation for real with real people?
Yeah,
And not, actually talk with the people that is in opposition to the story that you're spinning, so we can get the truth.
Yeah. And like I said, man, we have to deal with this all the time. So attacking one story at a time is not what we're here to do, but we're here to bring pull the narrative out here. Understand that you're watching the news and you're seeing a slant. You're seeing a point of view, and it's not a complete one at all.
It's not a true one.
You don't get on here talking about people are complaining and then don't go talk to the people complaining.
And again, it's not even just a spin. There's flat out lies being told. Again, in this article, it says Omaha Housing Authority CEO Joni Poore, in an interview with Channel 6 today on Tuesday, said, "When I have advocates calling the media before contacting us with a concern, that doesn't seem like a concern for the tenants."
But Hassani Lee has a paper trail of him contacting her. So we've spoken to somebody who already is proving that to be a lie. All they want is for them to come fix this building.
Like, so they're lying, is what you're saying? People are just flat out lying about the bed bugs and the mold.
Spending more time going to the media, more time paying for advocacy, more time paying for lawyers, more time paying for extra security guards, and all this stuff, instead of just taking that money and getting rid of the bed bugs, getting rid of the black mold. She's on the TV talking about the services we're not equipped to give people services. What? Who asked you for services? Who asked you for who? I don't understand it.
You know what this is about, right? This is about that case. It's about Hassani Lee. And now it's going to jury trial.
It's kind of not very intelligent to be bringing up this case with as many receipts as Brother Hassani Lee got, with as much paper trail as Brother Hassani Lee has. Well, you better stay away from that, from making any statements that got to do with that case. You should be talking about some other cases, other stuff that's going on, because there is. But don't come for Hassani Lee. He's been keeping track of this, and he came into town to keep track of this. Jumping in the chat real quick. Appreciate everybody everybody's like feeling like I'm feeling. Kimber says they didn't help my dad do shite, but find another apartment in the building when his apartment was infested.
Come on, man.
Here's people talk. Here's the daughter of a tenant telling you what's going on, telling you what's happening. Michelle Moreno says she had the unit clean and the common area clean just for that news segment. I didn't see a unit. All I saw was common areas.
Yep. The bathroom they showed, the kitchen.
The unit that they showed was somebody who had some dirty dishes in there, and so they can paint this portrait of people who are having a hard time keeping their unit clean. So it's their fault. The conditions are like they are. Wanda Lewis says if the units are unkept, then what's going on with OHA routine inspections and deadlines? Kimber says, you're right. This isn't journalism, and John should be called out for that. I might send him an email myself. I'm going to figure out a way to respectfully do that. But yeah, I'm not with that. I'm not with that at all. That narrative is crazy, and they can't say nothing to us about that, because nobody is talking about this subject as much as we are. Nobody is continuing the conversation. Besides, Sherman Wells is the only one talking about this more than us.
And that's because he's on the front line with
Paul Philman is the only one talking about this more than us. He's there every day. Mama God said bed bugs have nothing to do with cleanliness. Why is housekeeping the issue? Because it's not. Tony Johnson says we need to stop depending on mainstream news. Thank you. Need efforts for own media. First Guy Omaha should do interviews with tenants and post it to social media. Blur face, change his voice if needed. Yeah, I agree. We've had on Brother Hassani Lee. He's a tenant at this point. Mm-hmm. Love to have the resources to be able to go out here and do more of that, and that's what we're working on. So I appreciate that. And you're right. We agree. we agree, because who's going to tell the real story? What kind of narrative spin was that? That was unfortunate. That was very unfortunate.
So that's a good way to put it. Yeah, unfortunate.
Miss Erica Fell says, but the extra security guards aren't even to protect the tenants. The halls and elevators are dangerous, but they only brought the more security to block those calling attention to the problems. They brought this extra security guards just in case Sherman came on the property and made some noise. not even to protect the tenants. Mama God says there's a video of Joni Poor admitting she was aware of tenants' complaints. She knew. Pop says, so there's a way to contact that reporter, maybe take him to lunch with you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got to, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm seeing something. Maybe he needs to tell. I'm not a journalist. So Brother Chapman is a journalist. He's been a journalist for a long time. Maybe he needs to learn me something. But we're going to have to ask. Tony Johnson said, make it more than Hassani Lee. They have enough time and money to fight him, cannot fight multiple people at the same time.
Right.
There you go. This is the reason for Brother Sherman Wells' efforts. Yeah. This is the reason why we had Amy H. Dodd and Kimra Snipes and everybody going to the towers. We have been to the towers. We've talked to other tenants. I've reached out to family members of mine that live in the towers. Yeah, give us your stories.
But again, it seems like Brother Hassani Lee, let Kimra tell it, is a special case. She's mentioned the straw man approach that he's using, and apparently he's representing himself. It might take a little more than time and money for OHA to fight this situation. As Aaron Feistinger says, this Hassani Lee case is going to a jury trial, which does not happen often. So it's not the judges. It's not up to the judges anymore. This is going to the jury. This is going to the people.
Interesting.
And it may go to the Supreme Court. So money and time might not be enough.
For sure.
They might have just played themselves.
Congratulations.
He played himself.
Heather Williams says all of the towers need to be torn down. They don't want to do that because they have to find spots for everyone.
Yep.
They just need to fix the towers. Anybody even asking them to tear them down? Just keep the properties together. What's wrong with that? Low-income housing is needed, and more for more and more people. When I went looking for housing, the person the realtor that I was talking to was like, you might want to look into the towers, according to how much money you make. Okay, so I know for a fact it's not just elderly, disabled, mentally challenged people that are living in the towers.
No,
it's people have jobs, man. My cousin that lives over there works 2 jobs.
Yeah, I mean, you remember we were going to the Benson Towers during the Mind and Soul days. Again, if y'all remember, the radio tower for Mind and Soul was on top of the Benson Tower. We had to go in there several times, climb the stairs to deal with our connection. There was not just old people standing out front of that building.
No, bro. No. Kimber Snipes, boost to the roof. Action as we speak. And she just emailed John Chapman. Gwen Easter in the chat says the news did the same thing with Educare and early learning centers when I spoke out about the push out in predominantly black daycares. Yeah. Gwen Easter is a proponent for exactly this thing we talking about here. She's witnessed firsthand. She's had interviews with people in the news, and then they chopped her words up, cut her words up wrong, and put a whole different narrative out there. Look. Mama God says, I know someone who is OCD who moved on and out in 3 months. Did not care about breaking the lease. Just had to be out. Couldn't deal with it. Brother Knight in the chat, good morning, says, sounds like she was saying that since the people who there are low income, they don't deserve for the city to spend money on mold and bugs for the tenants' comfort. She didn't mention, she tried to act like there is no mold and bugs, let alone that she needs to spend any money on fixing anything. She on here talking about there is none.
There's no
maybe the people who are having problems taking care of their unit.
Dirty black folk, huh?
Right. Pops said in the chat, can the reporter be taken out to lunch along with Brother Lee and then taken to the apartment to see for himself? Will Channel 6 allow that?
Will Channel 6 air that, even if he did put it together?
That's the other thing. I don't think he's sitting there editing up the story. We might be talking out the side of our neck. He might have been to the towers and saw that side of it, and they still decided to run with the story this way. We don't know. Like I said, I'll give a brother benefit of the doubt first.
He don't own the network.
Kimmer says, that's if you can get on the elevator. The night my dad died in the Evans Tower, I had to walk up 6 flights of stairs. So did my sister, who had a very difficult time. How many times have we been to the towers to go up to that Mind and Soul thing and the elevator was broke? And we had to go to the roof, 13, 14, 15 floors up.
Man.
Kimmer says, and this is what he's going to be teaching people as well, referring to Mr. Lee,
Yep.
how to do the complaints. Remember, the first time we talked about this, the first time he came on, he said that one of the problems was they were telling them, give us a call about the complaints. You can act like that somebody didn't call. You have to have a paper trail. So the first thing is, no, send them an email first. Make sure that they make sure that they can't just dismiss a call. So how many people call to complain? How many people you think is sitting down in them common areas, sitting at the computers, writing an email, complaining to the very building they're sitting in? How many times have we been in there and there were no computers? How many times we've been in there, or there was a computer that didn't and they weren't working, or the common area was flooded?
Right. I mean, how do we know the computers they show work?
We have video confirmation from Sherman Wells about common areas being flooded in the towers.
Mo.
Tower looked pretty clean. They found the best one. They found the best common area tower and went and shot that. Junie Prince says, "What's Chapman email?" Yeah, not sure. Probably, I'm not sure. You have to look it on WWT or ask Kimmer. Kimmer just hit him up. Tony Johnson says, "Imagine if social media were flooded with testimonies from tenants, first party and third party testimonies." I'm gonna tell you right now. When we first started this conversation, in season 4, Space is the Place.
Man,
we were trying to get tenants to speak up. They weren't speaking up for fear of retaliation. If you're in the towers, it's because you get your low economic status. There's no really other place for you to go. Where you go after that is a homeless camp if you get kicked out of there. So if you get kicked out of there because you're complaining, you might be in trouble. So people would not speak up. It wasn't just that. I can imagine. I wish every tenant that got a problem, everybody just in one tower alone would be what, 300 people. So yeah, it would be great if people took their cell phones and showed what was up. Number one, you're dealing with people in their pride. You're dealing with people who don't want to show that they got these kind of problems. Family members ain't even showing up to their family's house because of the bed bugs and the roaches and so on and so forth. They don't even invite people over. When you got roaches at your house, you don't invite people over to your house. You don't let everybody in the world know you got roaches. You're dealing with people in their feelings in the first place. In second place, and more importantly, I feel like they're scared to say anything for fear of retaliation, for fear of getting kicked out. They're blaming people for the roaches in the first place. So if you call somebody and say, "Yo, I got bed bugs and roaches, can you do something about it?" Well, are you keeping your unit clean? We'll have to kick you out because you're not keeping your unit clean. Right. Or whatever they want to say.
Right. And again, you just in the case of Brother Hassani Lee's father, I believe Mr. Henry Lee, again, he's an elderly person, and I'm sure there's a lot of people for the tenants that are elderly that are dealing with this. It's not just pride, but they don't want to be a problem. They don't want to kick up dust. They don't want to have confrontations. They just want to live. They just want to live in peace.
He told the whole story. He didn't want to be a burden on his kids. He didn't want to tell them that he had a problem. He just wanted to. He was laying in bed bugs every night, not telling nobody nothing.
Breathing them in
through a CPAP machine.
Just dealing with it because he doesn't want to be a burden. And these are the people that they're refusing to help. These are the people that not just refusing to help, they're putting all the energy in to shut up.
I got family members that live in the towers that don't want me saying they live in the towers. Just living in the towers, let alone the condition. So there's a lot of reasons why people have not been chiming up, and the reason why people who are over that situation, like we just saw, Joni Poor, there's reasons why people are able to bully people this way. It would be great if we can go in there and rally. Trust me, the rallying that's going on by Sherman Wells, by Warrior Wells,
man,
and Hassani Lee, the two warriors here, the dust that's getting kicked up is unprecedented. It hasn't happened before. We're hearing more and more from people because of the dust that they're kicking up. C.O. Larkin, White Paul, people that are boots to the roots, they're kicking up more dust than I've ever seen. Everything else I've ever talked about before in years past has just been people that are dealing with this situation, and we're hearing about they're dealing with it. It's messed up. And I'm gonna send a complaint down there. We even talked to some of these people, man. When we were up at the towers, we got to know some of the people from OHA, some of the people that were working there. And we were and they're running around like crazy trying to even the people that are working in the towers a lot of times are having a hard time because they can't get things fixed and done. There's no money to do this. They got construction or some kind of something going on in the lobby, or the elevator's not working today, or all the mess.
All of the above. The key to the front door ain't working. I mean, it's just all kind of stuff. And kind of further outrage just thinking about this. You know, Joni is acting like this is not our job. We're not supposed. We don't have the budget. We don't. It's not our job to offer these services. But let Brother Hassani Lee tell it. The in-house caretakers won't come in because of the bed bugs.
And anyway, nobody's even talking about no programs for people to pay their rent.
Yeah.
They're just asking you to do the maintenance on the building.
Do your job.
Just do the maintenance on the building. Just do the maintenance on the building. You guys are in the chat going off. I appreciate that very much. Tony Johnson says, tag all the media people and organizations on this episode. Good idea. Mr. Eric Fell says there's always been employed disabled people living there. There were people deemed disabled due to addictions, mental health concerns, etc. So all ages, not just elderly. Kimmer says, my experience with reporters is that they edit their own stories. Okay. I think some news outlets do, some news outlets don't. But yeah. Mama God says, Chapman did not do his due diligence. Remember, Mr. Lee involved the health department who sent notices to OHA about problems. There's some impartial receipts. Just ask Hassani. You already got Hassani Lee's name. Get his receipts. Tony Johnson says, and CC council members, elected officials, and my media. When we are tagging the powers that be to watch this show, look at this discussion, and I'll encourage you, go back and look at this in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube and check out the chat. Look at the chat. Look at what the people are saying here, and these are people that have family members in the towers. Kimmer Snipe says, Chris Bowling was with me when I talked to my dad about work orders, and he hadn't had his responded to. So her father put in work orders. Here's a journalist that baby boy Bowling went with her. He was witness to this. What's happened? No response. Not even coming to fix the problem. Not even responding. Black Nine says it's also Underwood Towers. I really believe that part of the reason why we're getting the attention we are is because something came out about the Underwood Towers. It's the area. If you don't know much about the area, or if you're listening from outside the area, Underwood is kind of like Warren Buffett's neighborhood. So if there's a tower over there, they're tripping about it. If somebody's chiming up over there, then you do stuff like call Senator Megan Hunt, and there's some other players involved that put this in the news a little bit more because it's Underwood. I haven't heard nothing about Florence or Benson Towers or any of the other towers too much. Nope. But we sure did hear about Underwood. That's where, and to people like Paul Philman's point, yeah, be over there then. Be over there shining the light on it, and then say it's not just this tower, it's all the towers. And not just all the towers, all the properties.
Man.
There's hundreds of other properties besides the towers that people live in. Other little apartment complexes, duplexes, all stuff all over town that OHA is a part of. I've talked to people who live in some of these duplexes, a white brother and sister, who are telling me that the programs that they did sign up for, they're messed up. They got messed up some kind of way, and now they're trying to evict them and trying to act like they owe a bunch of back rent. Rent that was supposed to be taken care of. Like, everybody's got stories about how messed up things are, and she wants to act like there's no money for this stuff. Well, let's take it step by step. First of all, do the maintenance on the building. There's got to be enough money for that. Hundreds of thousands of dollars go to snow removal every year. $2,700 goes to pest control for every property. All the properties, not each property, all the properties. How is $2,700 enough for even one tower? I don't understand it. Tony Johnson says, take testimonies and remove the identity. Yep, I think we actually are. There's actually somebody working on that. Mr. Erkenfeld says, Nebraska tenant law requires landlords to provide vermin, insect, and crime-free residences. OHA provides none of that. Gwen Easter says, maybe tenants would do an interview if their faces are blocked out. Maybe.
Maybe.
Kimber Snipe says, my dad didn't want to speak up. He didn't want any problems.
That
Yeah, my cousins don't even want people to know they live there.
Sister Gwen Easter said the same thing. She said her family wants no parts of it, and that's kind of like that's the saddest part. Like these are the people you're oppressing, the people that just want peace, the people that don't want any problems, the people that even when they should be complaining and should be chiming up and should be doing more, they're just trying to go through the process and fill out their work orders and live.
Capitalism and the way in classism and racism in this country makes people feel ashamed. Kimmer Snipes says, "My dad didn't even invite me over. I had to almost force him to let me come over. I thought it was because we just met at first. Nah, man, people don't want you don't. If my house is not straightened up, I don't want you coming over hanging out. If my
Yeah,
dishes ain't washed today."
man.
Von Chapman in the chat says, "Good morning. Good morning to you. The entire segment was staged for the benefit of enablers to include the city, county, feds, and state. Bro, listen, ain't nobody ever been in the tower seeing the common areas that shiny. Ever, bro. It's obvious they went in there and cleaned up the common areas for the cameras. And for the cameras to come in and shoot that, like, basically, it's like, it looks good to me around here. I don't see any bed bugs running down the hallways. They took them to a common bathroom. You think the bathrooms in those things are that big? That was a common area bathroom they showed. Sparkling clean.
I mean, if you got reader comprehension, they tell on themselves. Like in the article, it says, Poor gave 6 News a tour of Underwood Tower. The units that are ready for move-in have been cleaned and look like most other apartments available for the rent or for rent in the city. So they already telling you they cleaned it just for the tour.
Did you see what they showed when they said that?
Yeah, it wasn't even a unit. It was like the showcase unit.
It wasn't even a showcase unit. It was a common area. It was the common area. I'll show it to you again. Going in today. This is a common area. Look at the window. Look at the extra. Look at the table over. That's nobody's unit. Turn the sound back on. Where's the sound at?
Underwood Tower. This is how the units look when tenants move in. They've been cleaned and look like most other apartments for rent in the city.
Nah, they don't look like most other apartments in this. What?
Well, actually, I'll flip it. Maybe they do, which is a problem in itself. To Marlon Harrison's point, Omaha itself needs to be sued. In 2018, it was Yates Apartments. In 2022, it was Legacy Crossing. And now it's Underwood Towers and other towers. So maybe they might be right by saying the OHA towers look like other apartments in the city. We already know about some of the slumlords. Come on, man.
She said it too. Ultimately, they're landlords, so tenants' rights and everything ought to be a part of everything that's happening.
There you go. Ultimately, they're landlords, and ultimately, they should be treated as such.
Let's take man. All right, I'm gonna take a break. Let my blood pressure go down a little bit.
I got one last comment for you, then we can jump to a break. Camera right above Brother Marlon. Camera says, someone just messaged me and said they feel like maybe John was forced to do that because it was complete walk back from the previous video. Maybe OHA is pulling some strings, which again goes right along with Brother Hassani Lee, who said he feels like there's some corruption in this and it's going to the top. It's not just Joni Poor not doing her job.
Come over here and try to pull these strings. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be Buddi3 Da Gawd. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'm Paul B. the Dove. He's Buddi3 Da Gawd.
Man.
All of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners going in. Appreciate it. This is a Housing Wednesday that we got going on this 8th of May, 2024. Going in deep. We've been following the story of Brother Hassani Lee, who had moved in from L.A., moved in from out of town, to take care of his aging father. Found out the conditions going on in the towers, complained, got no responses, went above and beyond, and is now paper trailed and really taking people to court and going to court himself over evictions, all the things that are going on in order for OHA to try to save some kind of face. And we just showed a news clip from Channel 6 that we're very disappointed in the narrative and fixing that. Talking about the actual narrative, and appreciate everybody who's jumped in. Anthony Rogers Wright in the chat, good morning. He says, just because a reporter is black doesn't mean they can't be bought. Anyone ever watch Fox News? He says, no strings need to be pulled. It's corporate media, which is not the same thing as the news. So true. Wanda Lewis says, I personally know that the South Terrace units were uninhabitable because our company was contracted to tear out walls, enclosures, and mold between the walls, and children were living there with respiratory issues. There was water actively dripping that had to be fixed before we put in the new walls, which explains stuff like units flooding, common areas flooded, mold in the walls in the first place comes from moisture. It explains a lot. So, yeah, there's people in the chat that have actually done work in the buildings, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My family back in the 90s had the contract to do the flooring in these buildings.
Really?
We've been in the buildings. We've seen this stuff, and it's been going on for years. Go back and look at Channel 6 and these other news outlets 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago. Every other year just about, there's a story about bed bugs and roaches and mold in the buildings. It's not
Nothing
fixed.
new.
It's not fixed.
Nothing new.
How long ago was that, Wanda Lewis? Miss Lewis, how long ago was that work got done? Appreciate everybody that's joining us. Go ahead.
I want to acknowledge Brother Vaughn Chapman's comment, because this is another element to it that we haven't really touched on, but needs to be discussed. Vaughn Chapman says, over the years, I've had 5 elderly relatives who have died whose health issues were a contributing factor to their deaths. And I'm curious, did these relatives live in the towers? Because I know you said you have relatives in the towers. Actually, I think you just said you had a relative who lived in the tower that just passed, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, thinking about what Wanda Lewis said too about kids with respiratory issues. You can't live in a house with mold and messed up vents and all kinds of stuff and not have that. You can't live in a house with roaches and not have respiratory issues. And you especially can't live in a house with bed bugs that you're breathing through your respiratory machines,
man,
and not have respiratory issues.
Actually, Vaughn Chapman clarified and answered my question. He says, over the years, I've had 5 relatives and many close friends. So not just 5 relatives, but many close friends who lived in the towers and who have died and whose deaths were exacerbated by the abhorrent conditions at the towers. Again, when we spoke to Mr. Lee, his doctor recommended, Mr. Henry Lee's doctor recommended that his kidney failure could be due to, again, the conditions that he's living in. So people are dying. And people dying while she lying.
All we asking her to do is is do the maintenance on the buildings. That's it. Amy H. says, smells like class action. You ever seen any of the movies where people got to rally up the town to do a class action lawsuit on a factory or something in town that's poisoning people? How much work it takes to get people to want to speak up,
man,
get together. Well, it hasn't happened yet, but I feel like it's happening now. Shout out to Sherman Wells. Shout out to Brother Wells, Warrior Wells, and everybody else that's involved in this. And
Kimra.
like I said, Kimra Snipes,
Chris Bolin.
Perfect example of Kimra, of somebody who had to deal with this, and her father passed away in the towers. Paul Philman says, I'm at my office at Underwood Tower, continuing to confront OHA conditions. Long battle, in for the long haul.
Man, there
White
you
Paul
go.
out there hanging out. Call his office because he at Underwood 8 to 5, 9, 5 days a week. Out there for Boost to the Roots.
Man, Miss Erica Felt giving us some insight, some information on exactly how bed bugs can affect your health. She says bed bug bites elevate your white blood cells. If you already have a health issue, bed bugs can contribute to that. Not to mention mold, probably asbestos. Yeah, all of these things. Kimra, she says, "See, I just can't." I know your father who lived in the tower just passed. Is it a stretch to say that the living conditions has something to do with it?
Yeah, exacerbated the situation for sure. Tony Johnson in the chat says organizations have been receiving funding for years to assist in areas like this. Where are they? Think of all the people who we elected to positions or paying to run organizations over years. Those organizations, yeah, I feel like they put those organizations in place to kind of help out with people with the rent and so on and so forth. I haven't seen any organizations put in place to handle the maintenance of a building, which is, you can't put an organization together for that. The landlord has to handle that. We can put together Tenants United and try to bring people together and fight and speak up. But all they're asking them to do is to do the maintenance of the building. There's two different topics if we're talking about organizations and we're talking about help for people who need help with rent and programs and things to help with their living conditions or whatever. But the living conditions of the buildings that they're in is what we're talking about. That's all. Joni Poor doesn't need to take care of my cousin's rent. She needs to she needs to get rid of the mold in the walls. Tony Johnson said people like Sherman and Paul have been more successful than city officials, elected officials, community leaders, and nonprofit groups. Take these budgets from nonfiction groups and provide for this. Yeah, like I said, that to me that's a part of another conversation that's very, very tied to this. But first and foremost, will Joni Poor just please bring in the people to demold the building and spray for bugs and so on. Wanda Lewis says you can also get infections from bed bug bites, especially with people who have diabetes. Listen, I had one experience. I had a friend who had bed bugs at an apartment that she was living in, and we looked up all the stuff that you got to do. It ended up pretty much burning all her possessions, just getting rid of everything. You can't really, that has to happen. But but there's, we talked about it on the show. There's ways we talked about it when Brother Hassani Lee came on. What you got to do to get rid of bed bugs is not what's being done. You don't come in and spray for roaches and then the bed bugs are done. Like
heat.
You need heat. You need So anyway, man, I kind of took that break so we can come back and calm down and come into something else. But this is going to be this for the show. 8:19 right now. If you believe in the concept of time,
man,
appreciate all the suggestions. Like I said, if you miss any of this, please go back and look at the chat. Tony Johnson making another great point. Take money from other non-functioning community groups and reliance to contracts for small business to clean up and spray for bugs. Win-win. Joni Poor not gonna let you in, and
right.
It would be against the law for you to come in and be spraying in their buildings. It's not even about the money. She got the money. The health department already came in and gave her the recommendation of what needs to be done. The question I have is who's enforcing that? So let's get back to that conversation on that tip. City council? Who's supposed to be enforcing what the health department comes in and says needs to happen? Mama God said if Poor says filth in Hassani Lee's story is at forefront, then Chapman should have asked to see his apartment.
That's why it's not real journalism. It's propaganda. That's all it is. It's propaganda.
Commercial. Von Chapman says Sherman Wells' report contradicts John Chapman's report. Right. And is an example of how the powers that be, including city council representatives from the targeted areas, have failed their constituents. Anthony Rogers, right? Receivership, y'all, is the only way. He said he's been saying this every time we talk about it for the past however many weeks now. Receivership is the only way. Look what the threat of receivership did in NYC. It led to a 10-year, 2.5 billion plan. I'd like to learn more about that situation in NYC. I don't know too much about it, so I'd like to learn more about that plan. And learn more about receivership. He put a article in the chat. I would highly suggest you check it out. I'm definitely going to check it out myself. Brother Ballard in the chat. Good morning. Gary Ballard Jr. says, a loud Wednesday night, shake my head. Perhaps John was reprimanded. We have to go back and look at that first article with that first news piece and see how different it was from the second one. He might have been. He might have been, man. That's why we're working for black media, black news here now for this very reason. Nobody gonna call us up and reprimand us for talking about what we're talking about right now. Well, I wish somebody would. Tony Johnson said, honored might let people in when you have multiple bed bug and cleaning companies showing up. So when we had Brother Hassani Lee on, they showed some footage of somebody who, an older man, that 80-year-old man who came in to independently take a look at the mold situation, kicked him out. He already knew that he might get arrested just going up in there.
And he was ready to go.
Kicked him out. Amy H. Dot says, I don't believe they have money in the budget to do the necessary repairs and maintenance. This comes from Congress, though, HUD. But, like, why don't they say that? Be transparent.
CYA?
Because the narrative, they're trying to blame the tenants for having filthy apartments. That's the reason for anybody's problem. And if they have all these other problems like mold and like all these other things, then they should have come to us and let us know so we can do something about it instead of go to the media. That's their narrative right now. So she's not even going to talk about the need for the money to fix anything. She's acting like nothing needs to be fixed. Did you see how clean the common area was in the video?
Actually, to clarify, she's even acting like the tenants aren't complaining. She said specifically, if I have advocates, so not tenants, but advocates contacting the media about complaints before contacting us, that does not seem to be a concern for the tenants. So she's saying people outside are chiming up and complaining about stuff, but the tenants, there are no issues. The tenants aren't complaining.
One tenant is Hassani Lee, and you know what's been happening with him? He's got the police sent to his house to try to get him out for trespassing. That didn't work. Then she tried to get him evicted. That got thrown out of court. Now went to another court last night, and now might go to the Nebraska Supreme Court. This case. So this is what happens when you speak up. This is what happens. This is the reason why people are in fear of retaliation. He has a case now against her for retaliation. Paper trailed. Legal case. So,
okay. So I found the article that, and shout out to Pastor Ballard, again, Assembly of the Saints own Pastor Ballard, Mr. Gary Ballard Jr. in the chat. So big shout out to you. Much love. And I have the other article that everyone is talking about from John Chapman, which was released on the 6th.
I thought we reported on that. Go ahead. You got it?
Yeah. This is the opposite. So he did, actually in the original video that we showed at the beginning, you can see a gentleman in a wheelchair. Apparently that gentleman is Mr. Michael Coleman, who does say he says, I got bed bugs, cockroaches, my stove don't heat up fast. He says he spraying the apartment himself, trying to fight off the bugs. And he says that that's about all he can do because of his physical conditions, saying I need help cleaning since I can't bend over or nothing. That's why I'm on a scooter. And even Brother Hassani Lee is in this article, has been interviewed in this article. Again, in this article, it says Hassani Lee's father lives in Underwood Towers. He has a list of code violations recorded as medium in severity that he says his father has been living with. He's had no heat in his unit for 3 years. The sink in the kitchen is leaking. He had mold in the bathroom and in the drywall, which has been identified by the health department and code enforcement. According to Mr. Lee, they even talk about Mr. Paul Philman in this, saying that he went to Don Bacon's office. So again, I'll lay out Brother John Chapman for this. So apparently he did speak to the other side, and it does look like Joni Poor came behind that on the back end for some cleanup, and possibly Brother John Chapman was forced to again let Joni Lee or Joni Poor speak her piece.
Could be, could very well be.
I can see that.
But whoever's doing the reporting, Joni Poor has a narrative that she's pushing everywhere, and it's not true. And we have talked to people now and know it, people that got receipts. Paul Philman says Michael Coleman has been asking me for help since I met him in February. No organization willing to help. What kind of help is he asking for, and what kind of organizations could give it? I'd like to know that. Rome's review says there's 3 sides to the truth. One interview, the other interview, and them together will be the truth.
Yeah.
I'm in the same room.
Yeah. I mean, somebody has to be lying. And I doubt these people are saying they have bed bugs and roaches for fun.
Yeah, bro. Like I said, bro, I attribute monumental strength just to admit that.
Okay. Thank you, Kimra. She says, John, just eat. Man, real-time conversation. Kimra, so during this whole conversation, just to recap, Kimra has emailed John Chapman, the reporter of the story, with Channel 6. He has responded to her, and he says that he was basically forced to do the story. He was forced to give Joni Poor some time and allow her to play herself some more and lie directly to our faces.
He did the story because he had to be fair to OHA. So that implies that the first story wasn't fair to OHA.
Which I understand. Like, again, that's real journalism. You got to have more than just one source. You know what I mean? So again, I will lay off Brother John Chapman. He's doing his job. And to your point, Paul, again, we got to give brothers the benefit of the doubt. He does not own WOWT. He is a face. He is a reporter, and he is doing his job. And yes, that is good journalism. You let both sides, like Mayor Sanchez just said, you let both sides tell their story, and in between you'll find the truth. And if you look at both stories, it's obvious who's lying.
Here's the thing, though. First of all, I would want the story to be the same story, not one story shows one side. A few days later, we do one showing the other side. Something got lost in that editorial room with that. They should in the first they felt like the first story was leaning towards the tenants and it wasn't fair to OHA. Then that first story should have been done differently. That's number one. Number two, as a journalist, I expect that if you're standing there talking to somebody and they're lying to you and you know already what's up, you call it out. You've been in the towers and talked to these people and seen the bed bugs. So now you would have to say that. Well, I met with Joni Poor, and Joni Poor said that they're not getting these complaints. Although I have talked to someone who did say they have complained, so I don't know. Well, that's not true. Like, that's how I would have done the story. That's what I expect out of my journalists. So, I'm not really sure how that works. What it looks like what happened is that he did the story, found out what the story was, did that, and then sat in the editorial room where they said, well, that's not, we're not giving OHA the benefit of the doubt on this. I need you to go back and do that. What?
So they can show the clean comment area, put they lean on it.
And he just did, you did the first story in the first place. You did the first story. You already know that some of that stuff that she's saying is not true. You're just going to let it slide in the interview? Buddy, as a person with a journalism degree, is that how you would approach the story?
No, I would approach it. I would tell the full story in one story. I would tell the full story. Like, that's you hit it right on the head.
Now you co-sign, like you said. Now you co-sign Joni, like Mama God said. Now you co-sign that mess. That's we might not ever see that other article.
We didn't.
You know what I mean?
We didn't. Right. Shout out to Pastor Ballard for bringing it to our attention because we didn't see that article.
We did see that article. We just didn't put it in the context of they needed to come back. We saw the article. We actually talked about it last week or whenever. We actually brought it up. We saw this article, but this is the reason why we had a big discussion about it last week, because of the fact that we saw that now it's getting this attention from the mainstream media. We just didn't think of it in the context of, is this true? Is this fair? We didn't think of it in the context of that. It was adding to the narrative that we were already talking about, that we were already having discussions with with uh Hassani Lee about, and everything else. Paul Philman, we showed footage and all kinds of stuff from this. The problem that we're having right now is a new article came out yesterday, that is supposedly there to be fair to OHA, and is telling a whole different story. It's a whole different narrative. It's a spin on the first story. I'm still not with it. I'm still not with how that was done. Because, like I said, there's no, I know enough about journalism to know, as a journalist, you don't sit there and let somebody just lie to you and you just report that. You don't do that. He knows. He already knows, and now we know he knows. We're looking at the original article with more scrutiny. Now we know he knew that there was some. She was sitting there telling some lies. You at least got to mention that.
Like, so what do you have to say about X, Y, and Z and these tenants who are saying this that contradicts what you're saying? Yeah.
Every
That
morning
question
we
could definitely
listen.
be asked.
Every morning I'm listening to NPR, and you got NPR reporters that are talking to, like, President Zelensky and all these people. Well, you said, but didn't you say? But what about this though? But like grilling them, like, nah. That's what about this thing though? Like, you don't just act like you don't know. I'm not really with this last one. Paul Philman, many residents have disabilities and can't get their apartments under control. OHA has not provided the necessary services to these residents. Health departments has sent reports on 10 apartments and made recommendations to OHA. I've shared all the videos of these inspections to media and city officials. Have we seen that? Vaughn Chapman is asking, what happened to journalistic integrity? Vaughn Chapman, no relation. Ms. Erica Fell says, he had to know that's a common area. Of course. Joni Poor told him that he's not allowed to break his lease, Miss Wanda Lewis said. Where's it? Let me see if there's. She said, back up a little bit. She says, you remember the guy from last year that had bed bugs living underneath his first layer of skin and had to be hospitalized? And the sister, the daughter came down from New Orleans or somewhere. I remember this. She said, Joni Poor told him that he's not allowed to break his lease. Brother Ballard said, John did the first video Tuesday night.
Yeah, the first video where he interviews Hassani Lee. The video you talking about, the video you're thinking of when we talked about it before we had Brother Hassani Lee on, was the story of Paul Philman and Sherman Wells sitting outside of. Remember they're outside of Underwood, and Joni was out there with the police trying to get them arrested and taking out the property. And the police was like, I can't. Yeah, like, I can't really do nothing. I can't really do that. It's against the law, actually, that you're asking us to do that. And then, so on the 6th, that was 2 days ago, on Monday. That would have been, the 6th was Monday. I had to look at my calendar.
Okay, so
The 6th was Monday.
Right.
And
Monday was the first video.
Yep. John Chapman released an article talking to the tenants, talking to Mr. Lee, talking to Mr. Coleman, talking to Paul. That article came out on Tuesday. And to your point, somewhere between Tuesday and or Monday and Tuesday, the editorial, the copy editors, whoever's in charge at WOWT said, nah, you got to talk to OHA too. You got to come back and talk to OHA. And John Chapman did that. He went back, spoke to OHA, and
okay. So the first article came out on Monday. The second article came out on Tuesday. That's what we're saying. Okay.
Yep.
And was he? I wonder if he was part of that first article that we were talking about earlier when Paul Philman and Sherman Wells was out there.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Anyway, moving on from that. Let's see in the chat real quick. None of the people talking about the reporting blogs, podcasts they planned to do last year have followed through with them. Talking to Von Chapman on that. Um, Von Chapman says, "What happened to the black community at large regarding this issue?" Like I said, I really feel like movement is happening now because of what the efforts that like Sherman Wells, Paul Philman, and Asani Lee especially are going for. Our brother Ballard says she came in from ATL. Yeah, talking about the sister that came in and found a bed bugs
Yep.
eating up her father. To see
Mhm.
about her father, extended family of mine. Oh, okay. She be talking to she'll be talking to Sherman today. There you go. More discussion. Tony Johnson, those organizations know how to communicate for fundraising. Mama God said the entire problem with this his OHA interview was his comment that he did not see anything. This attestation suggests that he personally witnessed nothing wrong here. All viewers have been in a lower or no residence in of the towers. Uh, all viewers have been in a tower or no residents of towers. So they are going to believe his viewpoint and feel there must not be a real problem. That you well said. Thank you, Mama God. That's what I'm feeling like here.
Yeah,
It's
because
his comments of
he
he didn't see a problem
he
after
did say,
after just saying he saw a problem the day before.
that's true. It's not just Johnny Poor's spin on it. He did say, this is not a quote. This is in the article. John Chapman saying, for a building built in the Reagan era, it's in pretty good condition.
Kimber says, I had to let John know that I'm not mad because he made a statement about people being mad at him. I told him dogs get mad. I just get to the bottom of things. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You know us. We're gonna try to first of all. This is the elder. This is our elder, a black
Yeah.
man, journalist. We gonna give we gonna call out, but we gonna give the benefit of the doubt and do it respectfully and so on and so forth. And first of all, give the benefit of the doubt.
I grew up on John Chapman.
Right. So anyway, not to keep harping on that part, but yes, Mama God is saying what I've been trying to. It always happens that somebody come in the chat and saying in one phrase what it is I've been going around about for 15 minutes. Basically, that's what it is that I'm saying is he came across as if he hadn't seen no problems. Not just coming across, he's actually stating these things, which is kind of in contradiction with this. Sounds like the first story that they just did the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, I don't think that journalism means that you give the other side a fair shot, and that means that you are just letting them tell their story. It's almost like you're doing a commercial for them. I don't think that's that's effectively telling both sides of the story. And that. Anyway, like I said, I don't want to keep on harping on the journalism side of this. It's a side note for us because the whole reason why we do this kind of stuff is because we're tired of that kind of news. We're tired of that kind of narrative. So it matters. But now I feel like I'm going besides the point. The point is that it doesn't seem like Joni Poor wants to do nothing about fixing these issues. Just wants to fight everybody who's speaking up.
Well, I think Kimber might have a point to that. She says it's also a case of people taking things personally. Mad at you. How about mad at the reporting?
Right.
And I could see that in the case of Joni Poor as well. Feeling like people are attacking her personally in the job that she's doing or not doing. And if you feel attacked personally, then you're going to put a lot of effort into defending yourself. You're going to get defensive, which is what we've seen. It's her getting defensive and not really doing her job.
Yeah. And also, even to be fair to OHA, even to be fair there, I want to say that if what I'm also learning in this conversation this time too, they keep on. I'm trying to figure out why they keep on pulling back to this idea of the services that they are providing low income people, and because to me it's a different issue, but maybe it's not. Maybe that's the point. Maybe the point is because now I've heard several instances of people that has disabilities. Paul Philman just talked about the brother that has used the wheelchair. That can't get around and clean his apartment. We have talked now about several individuals that are having issues with that, and I didn't understand until right now that I think that they can reach out to OHA to get help for that. if that is part of their responsibility to get help when they're disabled or having some issues, doing what they need to do there, and they're told that they can reach out to OHA to get help for that, and that's where she's saying they don't have enough money to help everybody or whatever the deal is. Let's look. We can keep on looking at that again. Right now, I've been trying to really harp on just fix the building, but maybe there's more to the responsibilities of OHA to these tenants than just fixing the building. Maybe there is programs, and maybe that's why Tony Johnson and them are saying, where are these other organizations that could be helping? Well, I don't. They can't come and fix the mold in the building. So maybe these other entities that you're talking about are people that are can help with some programs that might help people be able to have their house clean more, pay rent, or whatever the deal is. So I need to go find out now more so about what the programs are, what you're expected if you're in one of these towers, you're in one of these OHA properties. What is being offered to you? What's the I want to know more about that now. Is that making sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just shaking my head because it goes back to my original statement. Like, if it's not your job to assist these people, then why evict the people who are? Hassani Lee is specifically moved to from California to help his father. He didn't come to California or come from California to complain about the bed bugs. He just came here to help his father and realized the condition that he was in and did something about it. And now they're trying to kick him out. He didn't throw the beds out and choose to sleep in an air mattress for fun.
Right.
So
got his wife out here sleeping on the air mattress.
Come on, man. So is it really about? Do they really care?
Anthony Rogers Rice says HUD has the money. Their budget includes taking HUD. Probably saying
HUD.
Their budget includes taking on repairs. The POTUS signed the budget for $81.4 billion in gross appropriations for HUD, including $8 billion designated as emergency funding. Plenty of money. Biden got out there for this. We just talked about this the other day. I think it was Anthony Rogers right that said that. She walked into City Hall and walked out with 82 million or something like that. Where's that money supposed to go? Where's that money going? There's a lot of message that there's not enough money for things. I need that clarification now. Money for what? Fixing the building or helping tenants or
paying for
what?
Lobbyists
Or pay right. And extra security guards for Sherman Wells and Paul Philman.
Man.
Paul Philman says residents need outside support from community organizations. We need to keep asking OHA to facilitate this process. I've talked personally with Joni Poor about this issue. We need to keep pressing community to step up. Brother Ballard says all parties involved in dissolving the Richard Young system are complicit in this as well. There are persons severely challenged left to fend for themselves with capable tenants.
The Richard Young system.
Yeah, you hipping us to something. Let us know about that.
What is that? What is that?
Health services. He says, greed. The money was all still in there for the proper care. Tony Johnson, why is this not a public health issue or lack of adequate accommodations for disabled? Yeah, like I said, maybe there's more to it. I'm just trying to get the mold out the wall right now. Like, let's get to the rest of the conversation here. Vaughn Chapman says the city of Omaha has a tenant landlord act, but has refused to implement it in regard to OHA. Why? This is the question.
Right.
She's on camera saying, well, ultimately we're landlords. Okay, well, like I said, I think I'm starting to change. I'm starting to get it. She's saying they're landlords. They're not people that can provide a bunch of services for the people that are there.
Yeah, that's what she's
There's
saying.
not money for that.
That's what she's saying.
Well, I mean, first things first, fix the building.
That's the point. That's the point, because to Mama God, she says nobody is going to take on the client that they are concerned they will bring bed bugs to their residents.
Oh man,
Mr. Lee told us that is why he and his wife are in boring Omaha from Cali. Mr. Lee explicitly told us that he was told that they will not come in there if you got bed bugs. To which point is the responsibility of the landlord.
Yeah. Kimra, going where I'm trying to go. I'm not going to ask specifically about OHA. I'm going to ask what makes something a public health concern. Wanda Lewis says the Richard Young Mental Health Facility closed, leaving many residents in a sense of limbo. Information there. Paul Fimmer says organizations such as Least of My Brethren and Restore Dignity are doing this kind of work. We need more such efforts for helping residents in OHA.
Man, where's Tenants United in all of this? Is that organization even still exists?
That's a good question.
Where's the
Heather Williams-
ACLU? Good question, Vaughn Chapman.
There you go. Heather Williams says OHA is only responsible for housing. DHHS provides money to people, help elderly and disabled clean their homes with other things. Thank you
Man.
for the clarification.
And we already know about DHHS. We just talked about them not protecting the kids from getting raped.
That doesn't have nothing to do with Joni Poor, right?
No, that's state. That's
she's
state.
just over the building, right? Anthony Rogers Rice says the Fair Housing Act does stipulate that OHA has to make reasonable accommodations for disabled residents.
And she does know that they are vulnerable. So again, what is being done to assist?
Ooh-wee, 846. It's been a hot housing Wednesday.
I mean,
Appreciate everybody's go ahead.
I'm just I already knew it was gonna go in once Precious
Yeah. Paul Phillips said Tennis United invited me to their next meeting. They want to be involved. Nice.
Okay, good.
Not functioning anymore. Kimber says. Okay. Big signals there.
Okay.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Let's we're gonna keep it. One last comment by Kimber. I had to work through DHHS to get my father's support, but that still is not permanent. And again, DHHS, I'm sure, is having a tough time going in helping anybody when the situation in the towers are such that you don't want to go in because you don't want to get infestation or be subject to situations that are going to be unhealthy for you as well.
I'm a pivot it. I'm a pivot though. And I'm a bring in the Levi Blake story into this. We talk about DHHS. Now that we spoke to Brother Sherman Wells on Monday, and he mentioned that now that the search for Mr. Blake has ended, they have found his remains, his body is being laid to rest, his family is saying goodbye, the vigil is today, but that's not the end of the story. There will now be a call to reckoning for those who dropped the ball in this situation. Again, OPD took 10 days to file the missing person. They try to treat it like he was just a grown man that's, doing what he wants to do. And if he wants to leave his apartment, he can. But before that, remember, there was a petition to DHHS to get 24-hour in-home care. His doctor recommended that he get that care. What did DHHS do? They refused. Had he had the 24-hour care, maybe he wouldn't have went missing. So we're talking about a DHHS, not to mention the child welfare situation, St. Francis Ministries. Are we really expecting DHHS to do something? Like, is that what we talking about? Is that really what we're talking about?
Good question. Appreciate that. Appreciate you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Now we tie that into that changes a whole lot of this perspective. But to the original story, Joni Poor has nothing to do with DHHS.
No, she doesn't. This is above Joni Poor's pay grade.
Right.
But again, that goes to Hassani Lee's point. How high does this corruption go?
How high? Speaking of brother Blake, the Hood Table in the chat. Good morning. She says, I hope that everybody comes out to the vigil this evening.
Man,
shout out to the Hood Table. Definitely check the Hood Table out on YouTube. Hood Table does deep dives, man. Talks to people in the neighborhoods and talks about the news too, like us, but also deep dives, man, and knows some of the folks that are involved in some of these things and brings them on as guests. And so, yeah, it's always enlightening to go check out the Hood Table. You know what it is, the Hood Table. Get busy on YouTube. The vigil is tonight for Brother Levi Blake. Wednesday is May 8th, tonight at 6:30. Please join us for a vigil for Levi Blake, 24th and Grace in Omaha. Bring flowers for the site and black and gold balloons to release in his memory. The family would like to thank all the community members that shared a post, participated in a search, or supported the family during this tragic time. Funeral arrangements will be and
Announced soon.
announced soon. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate the family who, I appreciate all of you, man. Every time I think about this and I think about all the Chad Chimers and Ghost listeners and people in the community that really took up the mantle of going looking for them and we've been talking about this for a while and we try to keep it on everybody's mind and remind folks. It really warms my heart that people really made an effort here, and it's a tragic ending to this, and it's a sad thing. But like we were talking about Monday, it's the family. Hopefully, the family can get some closure and stuff now. But yeah, please be there for the family going through it right now, not just with this, but another death in the family. And so I hope that you guys can make the visual as well. Again, that's tonight at 6:30 at 24th and Grace in Omaha. And rest in peace, Levi Blake.
Man, big time.
Yep. 8:51 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, buddy, you want to do a little lightning round? Or you want to go straight to the haps? So how you feeling?
I got a little lightning round. We can jump into a couple. Got about 2 more articles left.
Cool. All right.
One second. So actually, this is very interesting. We might need to bring up this other article on Friday. Actually, this is an article that apparently you pulled from CNN. It says a white author calculated just how much racism has benefited her, and here's what she found.
Yeah, something like $300,000.
Yeah. According to this article, this is out of CNN. Exactly how much has racism benefited white Americans? Again, we're talking about all this. Could race be an issue? Journalist and author Tracy McMillan did the math. The advantages she's gotten over her life from being white, she estimates amount to $371,934.30. How did she get to that number? According to this article, to calculate, Macmillan tallied those benefits and divided them into 2 categories: a family bonus, which includes money her parents spent on her college tuition, educational loans she got from her grandfather, and an inheritance, and a social bonus, which includes jobs, apartments, and access to credit she's gotten throughout her life. Those resources and capital, she concludes, wouldn't have been available to her if it wasn't for her race. In her new book, The White Bonus, 5 Families and the Cash Value of Racism in America, which just published Tuesday, McMillan traces just how much of her family's modest wealth can be attributed to policies and practices that have systemically hurt Black Americans. Through investigative research, interviews, and personal recollections, McMillan examines how racism has shaped her life as well as the lives of 4 other white middle-class families. She says, it was one story about white people that I didn't know. McMillan, who grew up in rural Michigan and lives in New York, didn't have a particularly privileged upbringing by most standards, but as the book details, she grew up in an abusive household and an unfortunate accident left her mother unable to care for her. However, in college, McMillan juggled numerous jobs to support herself. Despite those hardships, McMillan says the financial advantages she's experienced because of her race were undeniable. Her grandparents benefited from federal programs that largely excluded Black people, allowing them to build wealth that was then passed to the next generation, that enabled her parents to help her pay her way into an elite university, which in turn opened doors to employment opportunities. So again, a very interesting article, and we might have to dive a little deeper into that situation. But again, the book just... Go ahead.
I was just saying she got disowned by her family over this whole thing. It's deep. Definitely looking forward to reading it.
Yeah. Again, the book just came out yesterday. It's called The White Bonus, 5 Families and the Cash Value of Racism in America. So yeah, we might have to double back on that on Friday. But again, in other news, finally, the summer EBT program. This is something that we've been fighting for and talking about here on this show. Again, Governor Pillen tried to shut it down. But again, shout out to senators who stepped up and got this passed. And it looks like it will be jumping off this summer. Again, and 175,000 children in Nebraska will have the help that they need to stay fed this summer. That's according to state estimates on eligibility for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in their 2024 summer EBT program. The benefits window starts in 10 days, beginning on May 16th and extending through August 31st. Each eligible child, is set to receive $40 per month for a total of $120 on a physical EBT card, which can then be used at grocery stores. Not much, but it's something. Children are eligible for benefits and include those who qualify or are already enrolled, in SNAP, TANF, which is a temporary assistance for needy families, FDPIR, which I'm not familiar with, or are in free and reduced meal programs through school, and those who are in Medicaid, in addition to being 185% below federal poverty line. I'm not sure what that is. That number is exactly, but a complete list of eligibility criteria is available on the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services website. So we'll try to get that link and post that in the chat for anybody who is interested in this program. Again, to remind you, Governor Pillen he said they would not enroll in it, but again, senators stepped up, and now this program will be launching this summer. Again, it takes place on the 16th and goes through August 31st. So if you are eligible, or wondering if you're eligible, here is the information and the list to those requirements.
Like Miss Erica Fell says, $40 whole a month, and that's what the governor didn't want families to have.
Yeah, it's whopping.
What you gonna get for $40 a month, bro? What you gonna get for $40 one grocery trip?
$120 for the whole summer.
Just think about that. How much can you even buy enough groceries in one shopping? We already know the answer to these questions. Let's move on.
That does it for our lightning round, man.
That's lightning round. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
that's it, man. That's it.
Well, I appreciate everybody bearing with us this time around here. We're all fired up. Got a lot of things that we are fired up about today. For real. Von Chapman is asking, by the way, where's the money? DED. Good question. We got a lot of more meetings and more things happening. I just reached out myself to find out where we're at because I'm lost. I don't remember what we signed, what we've turned in, how many. There's been 6, 7, 8, 9 times we've had to deal with them on some stuff, and we ain't even got the money and ain't even gotten to the point of having to report the stuff yet. So there is a lot of questions. Fortunately, they have people that are your case managers that you can call, and they'll give you as best answer as they can. So we'll see. Check it out, and we're going to continue to have these questions, ask these questions, and I really appreciate how even in real time we're getting answers to questions that we're putting out there. Shout out to Kimra Snipes for hitting up Brother Chapman for a statement on these articles, and I appreciate all your comments as well. Everybody who's really stepped up and really fired up right with us, with us. So keep on supporting Brother Hassani Lee, support Brother Sherman Wells, and Untamed, what that he's doing over there. Shout out to the Hood Tables, also talking about these things. Shout out to 95.7 The Boss, that's also on these subjects as well. We are not done. We're not done. So shout out to Drunk Ship Coffee for sponsoring this show and our social media channels. We do have a giveaway that's happening. You guys have turned in your answer your 3 questions and entered to win. You will be getting an email this afternoon. We'll have some instructions on how you can get your coffee if you're chosen as the winners. So appreciate everybody who contributed to that. If you're still on, checking us out, listening to us. Again, the purpose of us doing this giveaway was because we have a newsletter that we're about to fire up, and we'd love to get your email addresses so you can still send those to us, even though the contest is over. You can send that to us at firstsky.omaha@gmail.com. And give us your email address, and we'll add you to the newsletter list. We're constantly pushing and growing and trying to cover as much as we can with what's going on in our neighborhood. So it all stems from this outreach that we're doing right now. This conversation that we're having with you. These conversations are where all the news is being generated. So we appreciate everybody who's coming on. Nobody else is talking about the articles. Brother Chapman, who did these things, are not sitting around talking 3 hours, 2 hours a day, 3 days a week about the articles that they're even putting out. like our discussions, the things that we're having about the news that's happening is really kind of defining what there is, what news actually is in our neighborhoods and in our city. So we appreciate everybody's help with that. The Hood Table says, it's always start with the conversation. Got to.
Yeah, man.
Start with the
Conversation rules the nation, man.
Yep. Appreciate everybody again. There's the visual that is this afternoon. Um, that's really the major haps that's happening. So just to remind you again, 6:30 at 24th and Grace.
Yep.
And yeah, bring flowers and black and gold balloons if you can. If not, just show up and just be there for the family and prayers and thoughts and anything that we can do for the family. I'm sure that they know that we're down to help with whatever we can. We'll save the rest of the haps for Friday, which is coming up. Working on a special guest for Friday as well. But right now, we'll go ahead and get out of here. One more thing that we want to make sure that we promote, though, and get your tickets for is what's happening here with Dr. Umar coming in again. Black Agenda Alliance is putting on the Midwest Pan-African Conference. This is happening at the Assembly of the Saints. Shout out to Pastor Ballard that was in the chat this morning contributing. Appreciate that. 4224 North 24th Street. If you haven't been over there, you definitely need to check this out and get your tickets early. Go to the Black Agenda Alliance website and get your tickets because I'm pretty sure that this is going to be one of those things that sell out again. Last time Dr. Umar was in the house, it was packed house. So this is happening. This is coming up June 1st. Put it on your calendar. It's going to be around here sooner than later, for real. June 1st is going down. Midwest Pan-African Conference is happening. And there's a second event, I think June 2nd as well. We don't have the flyer for that yet. But go to Black Agenda Alliance, the Facebook page, and check out what they got going on. You'll have all the information there on what's coming up. And also what's coming up for us is June 7th. We're going to be out at Benson First Friday with a booth. Buddy will be in town. We would love to come by, say hi, talk about the next wave because we'll be ending season 7, June 15th. That'll be the last show. So the last show for that. And we're not necessarily starting a season 8. We're kind of starting over with a season 1, and it'll be very different. But we'll talk about that when we get face to face. We'll talk about the next wave of First Sky Omaha, and you can come and check us out and hang out with us. Shout out to Rain's Productions, Katie Rain helping us out with this. Shout out to our partners at BFF. And we're going to have a good time out there Friday, First Friday in Benson next June 7th. So put that in your calendar as well. And like I say, I'll save all the rest of the haps for Friday because there's tons going on this month and in June and in July. Big time.
Yeah. Actually, but to prepare for that, just let people know a heads up that the Joy Fest, those tickets are available. Registration is open for that. So you might not want to wait for that one, though. You might want to jump on that. So shout out to Lala and the whole team. Fabric Lab team behind Juneteenth Joy Fest.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going down in the real way, man. Got legendary Terry, man. Terrence Martin coming through, man. Definitely excited. Yeah, man. Definitely excited about that. Rest in peace to OG Curly Martin. And there's gonna be some other heads, man. My man Jay Crumb going, on the ticket. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. So again, those tickets are available. Registration is open for that. So you want to jump on that ASAP. Also speaking of Assembly of the Saints, just a quick not necessarily update, but to add on to what you're saying about the Pan African Conference again on the 1st, as you see, we'll have Dr. Umar. On the 2nd, to what Paul was saying, we'll have Brother Nuri Muhammad again, who's a student of Minister Farrakhan, a member of the Nation of Islam. So he'll be there speaking at the Pan African Conference as well. And again, that'll be at the Assembly of the Saints. I did want to give a quick shout out to Pastor Ballard, who joined our chat. I think this might have been his first time in the chat. He messaged us. He's on the chat.
I think he's been here before. Yeah,
okay. He did message us saying that First Guy Omaha out here making a change, making a difference. He even went through the hassle of getting his email together to get on YouTube and join us. So again, I just wanted to send a special thank you to the Pastor Ballard, again, leader of Assembly of the Saints, for joining us and giving us some good information on this conversation, man. So yeah, man, shout out to all of y'all, man. We couldn't do the show without you, man. We love you, big time.
Big time. Appreciate it. Mama God said, told you First Guy adopted Mr. Henry Lee, Uncle Henry Lee.
Yeah, Uncle Lee. Lee.
Yeah. Shout out to Asani Lee and his wife coming down and helping Uncle Henry.
Yeah, and just to that point, man, community. Teamwork makes the dream work. If I'm not mistaken, that was actually one of our seasons. Teamwork makes the dream work. And this is really it, y'all. Community. I've said it at Assembly of the Saints at the BAA for We all we got. But please understand, that's not a bad thing. That's enough. That's enough. Community. Again, apparently, Mr. Henry Lee knows my stepfather. They're in dialysis together.
Okay.
So again, Mr. Levi Blake is my daughter's great grandfather. Community. We family, y'all. We family, y'all.
For real.
And we gotta act as such. So again, we all we got, but that's enough. I truly mean it when I say I love y'all with a divine love, truly from my heart. I really do love y'all just for being you and being present and being a part of the community, man. So with that, catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where we try to speak to the community for 2 hours right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning, sometimes longer if the conversation requires it. But again, regardless, we're going to be here and have the conversation. So again, hopefully you'll join us next time. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yep.
Take it away, man.
Appreciate you guys following our lead on this. I'm just thinking about seasons 5, 6, and 7. 5 was teamwork makes the dream work. After you get the team together, you put boots to the roots. Season 6, and you do it, and you do it all from love and for love, and you do it all from love. Really, season 7, love supreme. That's where we're at right now. We're recognizing that this where all the action is coming from, and all the reason for doing what we're doing is coming from. It's got to be for the love. So appreciate that very much. Appreciate all of you, Chat Chimers, Ghost listeners, radio listeners, and even the monitoring spirits who will never ever admit to listening to this show, but are secretly doing so in order to go and tell some lies somewhere else. We're going to get out of here. Appreciate you very much. Miss Erica Fell says, great show. Please drink water. Be good to yourselves and your neighbors. Remember, the Play School House has one school age opening for the summer. Okay. Got a little opening happening. That's what's up. Appreciate that. Also, in the chat, Pop says, the show went so fast. Sometimes, fired up is good. He said, yeah, sometimes fired up is good. The time flies when you're fired up.
Man.
He says, see you all on Friday. I appreciate that very much. And again, I appreciate everybody who's joining to the chat and giving some really, really good suggestions and comments and help with some of the research and fact checking and all the things you guys do as co-hosts. Really appreciate it. If you missed any parts of the show, go back and check it out in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube, because there's 2 different chats going on in Facebook and YouTube. So I highly encourage you watch all of it and get ready to come on over to YouTube, because this is where we're going to consolidate the chat after we end this season, June 15th. And like I said, that's going to be one of the things that's going to change for the next iteration of seasons. So we appreciate everybody that's following us this long, and even people all the way back in the Mind and Soul days that's come through with us.
Holding it down.
Yeah, we got holding it down, and I'm trying to tell you, with some partnerships that we got coming up here in the next iteration of this show. Yeah, it's going to be a surprise. We're going to bring a whole bunch of stuff back that we were doing that was successfully getting done back then, and some new ideas and new things happening as well. We're constantly pushing on that, so we appreciate you and all your suggestions and all your help and all your support. You can go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button. Please become a reoccurring member and a sponsor of the channel as well, in order for us to keep this going. And to shout out to all the new people that have done that over the past 3 or 4 weeks. I got to get caught up on my emails, just thanking the folks that have become reoccurring members and sponsors of the channel. This is really how we want to serve, is to be in community with the people. That if you find this important, you find this something that helps you, help us, support us, so that we can expand the news in the Black community the way that we're trying to do so. So appreciate it very much. Appreciate you very much. Heather Williams said, Pastor Ballard is the only pastor showing up. Salute to him.
Big time. Big time.
That's what's up. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. Like I said, we'll leave the haps for Friday, working on a special guest for Friday. So please stay tuned for the Friday show. Again, we'll be back. Man, Brother Cornell West, 2024, man. Hey, shout out to Brother Anthony Rogers Wright, who, even though he's on the campaign trail with Brother Cornell West, still finds time to come in and speak with us here on the show. So,
yeah, even hooking us up with other candidates. Spoke to Dr. Jill Stein. Big shout out.
Dr. Stein called and said she want to come back on. We're gonna have her back on at some point too. So
yeah, man.
Yeah. Presidential candidates coming on through. It is that time. Also, don't forget that we got to say that one time before we leave too. Please don't forget that the primaries are coming up
Tuesday. Upcoming Tuesday.
This Tuesday it's going down. Let's see. I was looking for it. Here it is right here. Brother Terrell McKinney is reminding us May 14th. This is happening. Re-elect Terrell McKinney, legislation District 11. I feel like he got it in the bag, but you never know. Just make sure we're doing our due diligence and get down there. They're already saying if you got an early ballot or you're going to come down to vote early, please do it as early as possible, so they can be as efficient as possible on these things. But yeah, this is happening. It's coming up May 14th, and shout out to Brother Terrell McKinney, Senator Terrell McKinney, for reminding us about this. May 14th, the primaries. This is an important one as well.
Man,
Pass them up.
coming on up.
Brother Rice said this is my morning mental workout. Appreciate
Okay.
that, man. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and let you guys go on about your day, man, and get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. Can't tell you how much we find purpose in what it is that we're doing here with this
Man.
show.
Thank you.
Yep. Take care of yourselves.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red